So before we put on this masterclass, we wanted to make sure that we're hitting the major obstacle points that every student has faced before they're learning a language. And what we've realized after the hundreds of students that we've surveyed, that these five answers have become a pattern of why most people aren't learning a language. And it broke down to these five factors. Number one, I don't know what exactly I want. People just don't have a specific enough goal that pushes them to get to that place every day where they're sitting down and learning a language. Two is most people don't have enough time. Most of us have families, most of us have kids, we have our own business that we have to take care of, and time just never seems to be abundant when we're trying to learn a language. Third is we don't really know where to start, meaning we don't have the guidance, we don't know what's the best solution. Four is we don't have foreign friends that we can practice with. And then five is accountability, which is really in anything that we want to accomplish, or achieve, or learn. Lack of accountability is one of the biggest obstacles, including languages. So then the agenda that we have set out for you guys here is set forth. And in this section, we're going to be talking about the first two, which is how to achieve any goal in life that you have and be able to set the right goals for yourself. And I know that sounds rah-rah, but we're going to show you a proper way to set goals and why most of us are setting the wrong goals that we have. And then two, we're going to talk about how to find and create more time in your schedule to learn anything. So goal setting is where everything starts, guys. This is the foundation for trying to build a pyramid. The goal setting would be in the bottom base layer that really makes everything else stand and stable, because that's the foundation of how we're going to be able to learn anything moving forward. And there's a lot of research behind this as well, saying that goals really help us focus on what we want. It helps us save time when we know exactly what it is that we're looking for. Three, keeps us accountable and motivated. And then four, it helps you actually identify why you're doing this. What is your end goal when you're trying to accomplish something? So the three questions that I would recommend asking yourselves when you're first thinking about what language you want to learn or why you want to learn a language, ask these three questions, which is, what opportunities will become available when you can speak a language fluently? What would I do right now if I could speak this language fluently? And how will I feel after reaching fluency? Will you feel more confident? Will you feel more energetic? Will you feel more intelligent? Would you feel more connected to people around the world? And really give that some thought. You can decide to close your eyes. You can decide to really look deeper into why exactly you're doing this. Now, when you're talking about setting goals, really there's an ingredient, and you want to have 5 of these ingredients with anything that you're trying to achieve. And you want it to be, number 1, visually specific, slightly out of reach, measurable, result-oriented, and you want to have some sort of a deadline, meaning you want to be able to set your goal in 6 months or in 3 months or in 1 month. You want to be able to have something where you can grasp, and you want to be able to know that there's a finish line at the end of the day. Now I want to talk about these 3 goal setting processes that most people have when we're just about to get started. Now, what I will say is that for those of us that have any goals in process, we are already at an advantage versus those that don't have any goal, because at least we know what we're working towards. Now, most of us, when we first set out to set goals, set something like this. And let's say we're trying to learn Spanish. Most of us will say, I want to become fluent in Spanish so I can travel to Spain by next year, which sounds like a good goal, sounds like a goal that is reasonable, something that we would tell our friends. But notice that there wasn't as much of a visually specific catalyst to it. There wasn't this big deadline or push, and it also wasn't as measurable. How would you know when you're fluent? It's a very generic word that most people don't really know how to define. Now let's take it a step notch and let's see a good goal, and we a little bit more specific with it, which is I want to become conversation fluent in Spanish so I can travel to Spain by next summer. And the two differences were that is conversation fluency, you became a little bit more specific and you had a more specific deadline. And saying next year, most people can push that off to December versus when you're talking about next summer, and it could be, it could be in May, it could be in June, it could be July or August. At least you have a more specific timeline to it. Now let's talk about a great goal, which is, in this example, I will have a 30-minute conversation in Spanish with a native Spanish person over coffee in a cafe in Madrid on July 2017. And if you guys notice the difference, you can really visualize what this feeling and experience is like when you're having coffee with someone in Madrid in July 2017. You can get a feel of the weather. You have a specific deadline of when you need to be able to reach your goal. And you also have a native Spanish person that you can imagine speaking with. So that's the real big difference, guys, is the difference between a great goal and a bad goal has to have these 5 ingredients. And I'll let you guys screenshot this if you guys need to have some more time, or if you want to write it down. But make sure you're really focusing on creating specificity, details, and making sure that there is a specific deadline for when you need to be able to reach your goal. So challenge number 1, guys, is write down your ultimate goal. Write down the first 5 things that you need to do in the next 30 days to get closer to your goal. The second most important aspect and the biggest obstacle for most people is finding time in your schedule. And this is what we're going to be talking about. And what Stephen Covey is famous for saying, he is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And really what this means is that what's important is what's on your calendar. And this is the fundamental theme that we're going to be discussing today. So take, for example, an author that wants to be able to write a book. They have a priority of being able to want to write a book, but they haven't broken it down enough to the point where they don't have a routine or a schedule for actually writing the book itself. The same thing goes for people that want to be able to grow their business or people that want to lose weight so that they can get in better shape. And what that means is that if you want to be able to write a book, the key is not to prioritize that you want to write a book, but the key is to schedule specific tasks that will create a system for yourself that would allow you to reach your goal slowly by each task or each day. So for an author, it can mean writing 500 words no matter how bad the draft is. For people that want to be able to grow their business or grow their organization's business, it means meeting every week to review your sales numbers and trying out new experiments every week. If you want to lose weight, this could mean running 30 minutes or going to the gym for 30 minutes every morning, no matter how tired you feel, no matter how sore you feel. And really what we're trying to talk about here, guys, is consistency, consistency, consistency. That's the only thing that matters when it comes to scheduling your priorities. And one tactic that I recommend you guys to try out is once you have a priority, and in this case, it could be learning a language, is to really try to look at your calendar and take a look at what part of the day are you free or more free than other times. It could be early in the morning for some of you. It could be during lunchtime. It could be in the evening, or if you're a night owl like myself, it could be later at night. But really pick a time, and what you'll find is that really learning a language can only take 20 to 30 minutes of your time. It doesn't have to take longer than that, as long as you are using an effective solution. So the key is to find that effective solution, which we'll get to, But really make sure you have that in your calendar so that you know exactly how long it's going to take. You know what part of the day you're able to have that experience. And you know that you don't have to sacrifice the other things in your calendar in order to get this done, because you've already scheduled it inside of your Google Calendar, your Outlook, whichever you feel is the most productive for you. So that's challenge number 2, guys. And really, this works as long as you take action and do it. So make sure you're actually committing to doing this and taking on this challenge number 2, which is select a free 30-minute slot on your calendar. That could be the morning, lunchtime, or the evening, and insert an event called language learning. And you could change this to whichever processor you use. It could be a one-on-one lesson with a Rype coach. It could be going on Duolingo. It could be taking our Learn a Language challenge, whatever it might be. And then set it on repeat on a daily basis, or for some of you, it could be 3 times a week. And just repeat that for 21 days, which a lot of studies have shown 21 days is the time that you need to really form a habit in your brain. So that's all it is, guys. You just need to be able to prioritize and then schedule it in your calendar. And that's really how you create more time in your day.